Welcome to the fourth part of our series Pimcore on Steroids. The series about how Data Director enhances Pimcore backend concerning usability. This time it is about Pimcore Perspectives. A perspective is the arrangement of all the elements which you see in Pimcore backend. The first problem with the default perspective is that for pure PIM projects, the documents is always visible. Documents area is always visible. But when Pimcore gets used as a product information system, oftentimes there is no documents. So people will have to move to data objects or assets. The second problem with the default perspective is that all data objects are in one area. So when you expand some of them, you will have a really long list, and in daily workflow you have to scroll up and down again and again. And of course, you can only open one of those accordion elements here. So imagine you want to add an image, then you have to go here, look for the image, assign it, then open the data objects again, go to the next one, and so on. This can be optimized with Pimcore Perspectives. Pimcore Perspectives you already may know from the official Pimcore demo. There they have also divided the screen into the left and the right part. But it involves some configuration and programming, and it's rather complex. With Data Director, you get an implementation which is only based on configuration without any programming. I can show you the result. When you go here to Perspectives, there is a PIM perspective. When I load this, then we see on the left side there are the products folder. The shown data objects are of class brand and class product. And on the right side, we see the categories, suppliers, and assets. The purpose or the goal of this perspective is that you have the most used objects on the left side and the ones which you assign to these objects on the right side. So in this case, you open an object, then maybe go to assets, and you assign an asset, or maybe you have searched before. Then the tree stays in its state. You can simply go to the next object, and also the asset tree stays on its state. You do not have to collapse and expand the areas again, which you are currently working with. Now, how is this perspective configured? Let's have a look at the class definitions. Pimcore supports a feature named groups. Every class can have a group. And we see here that brand and product are in the same group products. The name of the group we see here at the top, this is the title of this data object area. The other classes like categories, they have a different group. And as soon as you save those classes, as soon as you arranged these groups, the perspective will automatically get created. So for example, when I move category also to group products and save that, and when we then reload Pimcore, we will see that categories is now also in the area products of all the objects. Now it looks similar as default again. So this way you can configure all the areas with the groups. Now you see that the Pimcore documents are nowhere here. The reason for this is that this is a PIM perspective. In a PIM perspective, the documents get only shown if there are documents. But in my case, I do not have any documents, so they are not shown. One last word about the initial state, because most clients do not use initially the groups feature. When we remove the groups from all our classes, and reload Pimcore, then we will see that we now have also a different view than the default one, but the objects are all in one area and also the assets are on another side. But still, this left and right separation is in place because still the assets will always get assigned to the data objects. So it always makes sense, at least in my opinion, to have to split those two areas so that you can keep the tree open for the data objects and the tree open for the assets. So you drag and drop always from the right side to the middle, and on the left side you have the objects which can where the assets can be assigned. So it is a bit the same as with the tooltip feature. This basic implementation can, of course, be overridden. Either you create perspectives as defined in the Pimcore documentation yourself, or you can use a plugin named Pimcore Perspective Editor, where you can define all those areas with a user interface. But the goal of this feature in Data Director is, on one hand, give a useful default, and on the other hand, it will introduce this feature so that you get to know that this feature actually exists. Because, again, clients will not ask for this feature if they do not know that this exists. So it is a basic implementation, and then maybe agencies will receive orders from their clients to even customize this. I hope this feature is also useful for you. Thanks for watching this 4th episode, and I hope to welcome you back on the 5th one. Bye-bye.